Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to All People's Church, Unitarian Universalist. My name is Mary Kerwin, and I am your co-celebrant this morning. In the pulpit with me is Kathy Chapman Hackett. Kathy comes to us from First Unitarian Church in Dallas, and she is very actively involved and was the founder of the local chapter for the Unitarian Universalists for Justice in the Middle East. Welcome, Kathy. We're so glad that you're here. We also especially welcome those who are visiting today. If you haven't yet done so, please sign in at the visitors table by the front door. You can be placed on our mailing list to receive our weekly emails and our monthly newsletter. After the service is over, all are invited to stay for our coffee hour and conversation. Now, please settle comfortably for our musical prelude. We come together this morning to remind one another to rest for a moment on the forming edge of our lives, to resist the headlong tumble into the next moment until we claim for ourselves awareness, and gratitude. Taking the time to look into one another's faces and see their communion, the reflection of our own eyes. This community of laughter and silence, memory and hope, is hallowed by our presence together. We now invite you to rise in body or spirit for the chalice lighting, our opening hymn, and our spoken affirmation. Our chalice lighting words come from Reverend Michelle Collins. Come to this time of worship, worn, weary, or wide awake. In this gathering, we acknowledge the pressure of living. Today, let us embody resilience together, not as armor, but as the soft, stubborn practice of returning to ourselves, to one another, and to the work of love. Please now join in singing our opening hymn, number 146, Soon the Day Will Arrive.
Love is the doctrine of this church.
The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve others in community, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with creation. Thus do we covenant with one another. We're so happy to see the young, and the young at heart are also invited to come forward. Our minister, Lori, will be doing the story for all ages.
Good morning. Did you notice that somebody is wearing a lot of necklaces? Do you know where those are available? You too can have one. You could have what?
At a soccer.
Oh.
I didn't take one.
They're right outside the doors there. There's a whole basket, and y'all can take a necklace or two. Take one of each color if you want, okay? It's right next to the beautiful Valentine tree that I decorated last week. Yeah. And if you find a little something on the tree and you want to take one of the little things off the tree, you're welcome to do that too, okay? You can tell me something.
You know, I actually haven't been here in a very long time.
You haven't been here in a very long time?
Since we haven't been here since we moved.
Oh my goodness, we are so glad you came back. We're so glad that you had a move and that it was successful, and we're glad that you're here.
And also we had to move 2 times because someone had to be kicked out of our lives, and we actually were living with them, so that's why we had to move.
Okay. And you are safer and happier now, right? Okay, that's a lesson to us all, that when there is someone in our lives that is dangerous for us, that we need to move away from them. Well, we're so glad that you're here, right? We are all so glad that he's here. This morning, our story is called Sophia's Guest. Once upon a time, there was a teacher named Sophia. Sophia had been a teacher in the town where she lived for so long that the kids she first had in her class grew up and had kids of their own and sent them to her class too. Nearly everyone in the town knew Sophia and loved her because not only was she an excellent teacher, but she was also very kind. One day when Sophia got to work, she found a little note on her desk. The note read, "Dear Sophia, I will be around tomorrow. I wonder if I might stop by your house for tea tomorrow afternoon. Your friend, God." At first, Sophia thought it was a joke. But the more she thought about it, the more she realized that if it was a joke, it wasn't a very funny joke. And she couldn't think of anyone who would play a joke on her like that. Then she thought, what if it wasn't a joke? What if God really was going to come to her house tomorrow afternoon? Sophia thought she better get ready just in case. When she got home, she cleaned her house from top to bottom. She brought in fresh flowers from the garden and put them in a vase in the living room. She cleaned and cleaned until everything was sparkly. In the morning, Sophia realized she didn't know what God liked to eat. So she baked bread and made a casserole and fruit salad and baked some cookies too. And what about the tea? Did God like hot tea or iced tea? Well, she thought she better make both. And what if God's favorite thing in the whole world was lemonade? She thought maybe she should make some of that too. She was so nervous, she just didn't know what to expect. Just then, there was a knock at her door. Sophia's heart went pat, pat, pat. Have you ever had your heart do that? Yeah. You're so excited. She took a big breath, opened the door slowly, and on the other side was the mayor of the town. "Hello, Sophia. I was walking by and smelled the delicious fresh baked bread." Sophia said, "I'm so glad you're here. Come in, come in. I am expecting a very important visitor who you might want to meet. Please come in and make yourself at home." Sophia and the mayor sat, having a nice discussion, when there was a knock at the door. Sophia's heart went pat, pat, pat. She took a deep breath, opened the door. You make good sound effects. She opened the door slowly, and on the other side was a group of children from her class. Sophia said, "I'm so glad you're here. Come in, come in. I'm expecting a very important visitor who you might want to meet. Please come in and help yourself to some cookies. The children were giving the mayor some much-needed advice when there was a knock at the door. Sophia's heart went. She took a deep breath and opened the door, and it was the entire Women's Covenant group from church. Hello, Sophia. We heard the tea kettle and laughter and thought you might be having a party. Sophia said, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Come in, come in. I'm expecting a very important visitor and who you might want to meet. Please come in and make yourself at home." All afternoon, people stopped by Sophia's house, lured by the yummy smells and happy sounds. The townspeople filled her house upstairs and downstairs and overflowed into the backyard and the front yard. As they got hungry, they made dinner together and ate as the sun set and the moon rose. It was a great party. People were playing games and telling stories and baking and playing music and talking together. Sophia had such a nice time that she completely forgot about the very important guest. Even as she waved goodbye to her friends at the end of the night, she felt only contentment at having such a lovely party. In the morning, though, Sophia woke up and remembered everything. She was confused. Whatever had happened to God? All during her walk to work, she tried to figure out what had happened. Along the way, she smiled and waved to the people she ran into who had been at her party. She thought to herself that she really should do that again sometime. When Sophia arrived at work, she was surprised to find another note on her desk. It read, "Dear Sophia, I had such a wonderful time yesterday. The bread was delicious, the cookies divine. Tea mixed with lemonade is my very favorite. Thank you for being such a wonderful host. I hope we can do it again soon. Love, God." He was there, or she was there, or they were there. Yes. And yes, they were there is the best. Well, how was God there? Invisible? Or could God have been everyone who was there, including Sophia? Because that's who we are. Maybe Sophia didn't see the divine in herself until that very moment. Might be. So when you visit with your friends or people come over to your house or something, just remember that they might be thinking that they're going to meet a very important guest too. Maybe. I mean, God likes tea with lemonade. Yeah. So you're gonna go to a party and you're gonna get your nails done and oh, you're not. But you're gonna go to a party, right? A nail party? Oh, just kidding. Okay. I totally misunderstood that. All right. Well, I want y'all to, on your way out, you take a couple of necklaces and maybe share with somebody that's looking for some love. Have a great week. Let's sing them out.
park in the back and I walk up to the building, crossing over the bridge and coming up on the courtyard. Sometimes, depending on my mood, it's almost like a spiritual experience. I've arrived back again to the place that has been my church for more than 30 years. I remind myself how many rich memories I have here and think about the people who have gone before, as well as all of you that I still call my friends. All People's Church is both a self-governing and a self-sustaining congregation. Through the policies that we enact and the decisions that we make, we strive to fulfill the missions of our church. By conducting a pledge drive and creating a budget, we agree to fund that which sustains our work within the church itself, as well as our work in the larger community. We pledge our volunteer time and our financial resources to this end. We honor your pledges by committing to the many obligations required of us to keep the doors open. We share the undesignated cash offerings that are collected each week with a nonprofit or a charitable group. Our current Share the Plate recipient is the Tarrant Area Food Bank. If you prefer, donations can be made using the QR code that's on the back of the order of service. We thank you for your generosity now and throughout the year. The offering will now be accepted. Will the ushers please come forward?
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth.
Our reading today is a poem entitled, I Side with the People, by Reverend Drew Patton. Is from the First Presbyterian Church of Berkeley, and this poem is shared with his consent. If ever they ask you, which side are you on? Tell them plainly, I side with the people. With the precious ones, all, the integral, the soft and the fierce, irreplaceable, the beloved, if only by God and trees who were born and breathe and survive. Say I side with those who keep watch, beneath the bright screaming arc of bombs, with those who hide in dark doorways or who are through the moonlight flee, with those who stay and fight, and with those kept up all night, by hunger and grief and terror and rage, by desperate, unruly hope, who are good and green at the root, who are more than the worst that they've done, who do their best to love and still pass on the hurt in themselves that they hate. But what when they take sides against each other? The people against even themselves? Side with whatever is human in them, what is fragile and fleeing and flesh. Side with the truth of our stories. Side with the fact of our pain. Side with defiant insistence on freedom. Side there again and again. Side there today and tomorrow. Side there the rest of your life. Side there together until we belong each one to every other. If they ever ask you, which side are you on? Say, it doesn't work like that. Tell them you side with the people and abide where the people are at. Now at this time in our service, we pause to honor and to give time and attention to those things that are most important to us. We gather here for healing and for peace in our hearts and in the world, and we honor our time together with the shared stories and the news from our congregation. Each week there is a journal outside the entrance to the sanctuary where you can write a message of memory or hope. We honor these messages by lighting 3 candles here next to our chalice. Also, at any time during our service, you are welcome to come forward and light a candle in our meditation center here at the side of the chancel. We have several stories today from our book of Memory and Hope. First is from Julie Heavalone. All People's Church was part of an incredible showing of solidarity, action, power, and love during the UU Solidarity Initiative's Ice Out action. During the first week, UUs across the country made 3,000 calls to Congress, calling for an end to ICE funding. This built an unbroken chain of calls for 40 hours. Then we did it again last week with an additional 50 hours of phone blitz calling. This is critical, timely, and needed work. We are bringing our capacity together from across the UU ecosystem in a multi-level effort. Individuals, congregations, state action networks, national organizations. We're glad to be a part of this work as we live our faith. Thank you to all of you who participated in the Ice Out Blitz this week. This next story is a bit of a personal one for me. Yesterday, the Buddhist monks on the Walk for Peace returned to their temple on Rosedale, which is just a few miles away. Several of us from all peoples were there to greet them and join in walking the last mile of their 2,300-mile cross-country journey that began on October 26th. We met a man wearing a Side for Love shirt who had come over from Horizon UU in Carrollton. Much gratitude for the monks and their enormous efforts to bring peace and compassion to our troubled world. And from our book, we have a message from Katie Costello. Katie Costello is now Katie Costello Worthington because she and Zachary Worthington were wed here in this sanctuary on Friday, February 13th. Let us now pause for a few moments of quiet meditation to hold and uplift the sorrows and celebrations, both spoken and unspoken among us. And then Misha will lift our hearts with music.
Oh. Good morning. I thought I would start out today by explaining why I am an advocate for Palestinian rights. I was like many of you who did not understand the history of the Middle East, and particularly Palestine and Israel. My background as a union leader and an organizer in California SCIU Local 1000 helped me to develop my political views. The union is what educated me, not my formal education, and that changed my views. I read different books, watched different movies, and heard different speakers on issues that I did not learn in my 18 plus years of education. Part of that was listening to corporate media, and I saw the lack of real history in my education. I know many of you of my era have similar experiences. If you marched during the Vietnam War, if you were a feminist in the 70s, or even the Civil Rights Movement. After I retired from my state service job and union officer responsibilities, I was asked to sit on a coordinating committee for Palestinian rights in the Sacramento region. I learned from the lifelong activists in the peace movement and the activists for Palestinian rights a lot of things. I was a member of UU in Sacramento, and I thought, what position had UU taken on Palestinian rights? I found there was a national organization for Unitarian Universalists for Justice in the Middle East, and I do know that that name was coined by colonizers. I contacted this organization to see what I could do in Sacramento. I started a chapter at the Unitarian Universalist for Justice in Sacramento, and that began my education on the occupation of Palestine. In the last 10 years, I've learned a lot, but I'm not an expert. After joining the first UU here in Dallas, I started a chapter for Unitarian Universalists in the Middle East, and I hope you will consider becoming active too. There have been lukewarm support for the Palestinians' cause from UUA and many local UU congregations. UU has been reluctant to educate their members or take stronger positions over the years. I think this is because UU is different than a Christian church, having some Jewish members. Many at the leadership level of UU were afraid of offending their Jewish members and have not taken a strong position and have provided limited education for UU members. And that is why many UUs are not aware of the suffering of the Palestinians. Some even think churches should not take sides, even when a genocide has occurred. In our country, after World War II, there was great sympathy for the Jews as they recovered from the horror of the Holocaust. Many movies were made in the 1950s that set a tone of symphony for Israel. One is Cast a Giant Shadow with Kirk Douglas. And movies at that time were the only social media. UU is changing, and I'm proud to say that in 2024, UU at the General Assembly passed an action of immediate witness to support Palestine. And the major action items are the following: witnessing, call for immediate ceasefire; educating, hold teach-ins about Palestine and Israel that include spaces for spiritual processing; organizing and advocacy; engage in Palestinian lead groups; sign and amplify and carry out the apartheid-free communication policy and pledge; and support protests, oppose legislation and policies that restrict First Amendment rights. I have copies of the action of immediate witness with me today, and there's a large printout of it over there in the center of that poster board. I want to continue how I became more educated on the occupation of Palestine and some suggestions for you. One of the first things I did was take a class at a community college on the history of Palestine using this book by Ilan Pape. I would recommend that if you get a chance, you can read these books, and I brought a copy for you to borrow today. You could put it in your library. He also had interviews on YouTube, so you can watch them on YouTube. He is an Israeli citizen and a Jew. He brings a straightforward message based on facts and from records that were just released in the 1980s and became public, of the massacre of Palestine in 1948, the Great Catastrophe, where 750,000 Palestinians were moved off the land, gunpoint, or killed. Those of you who have studied history of our own nation know that we too were a-settler colonizers, and we did the same as the Israelis. We took the land from the indigenous people who lived here, and we brought settlers over from Europe and gave them the land. This is a fact, and we made movies with Native Americans calling them savages. It's in my own family, when they came to Missouri, I think in the 1850s, were able to get land at a very cheap rate. This is after the Louisiana Purchase. And I was always told that they, won the West. It's tragic how history can be sabotaged for other personal gain. A perpetual myth is that the land was empty in Palestine. It is not true, because Palestine was a land with many people. It was a thriving country with people living together, both Jews and Muslims. How did it happen that it turned into the current situation? The answer is complicated, but it started with the Zionists, a political view that started in the 1800s in England. Theodor Herzl was the founder of the Zionist movement in 1897, and he and other Jewish men had the idea to create a Jewish country exclusively for Jews to practice Judaism. Early in the movement of Jews to Palestine, the plan to remove Palestinians was put in place. After the fall of the Ottoman Empire and the British withdrawing from the Middle East, a deal was struck to give the land to Zionists. The UN created a partition plan favoring the Israelis, and in 1948, a war was waged to push the Palestinians off the land and declare the country of Israel. The Palestinians have lived in occupied territory since 1948 under the foot of the Israelis. A propaganda campaign was developed by the Jews to have their own land to protect them from anti-Semitism in Europe. Anti-Semitism does exist, and we should be aware of the prejudice against Jews that has existed for centuries. The problem is other Palestinians own the land in many cases. The United States has always been supportive and to create a state for Jews. As resistance grew to this ethnic cleansing by the Israelis from local media coverage, and also today, we see that the U.S. has painted most resistant to the occupation as terrorists. We also know the United States' definition of terrorists is very broadly applied and can be a mechanism to squash dissent. I lived in San Francisco in 1969 and saw the Black Panther activists in the streets passing out their newspapers with articles about discrimination by the police force. I saw at demonstrations harsh treatment of activists by the police force. Since I saw it with my own eyes, I believe there was truth to the Black Panthers articles. It was the same, some of us, know about the Kent State students who were shot on campus and killed by police. Angela Davis, to this day, has advocated for Palestinian rights and sees the parallel between the oppression of Palestinians and African Americans. Resistant groups emerge from suppression. If you have your rights taken away from you for many years, the pressure can explode into violence. I think we need to look at the issue a little deeper and try to understand the circumstances were in existence at the time of violence. Israel has a powerful military operation, and in part because of funding from the United States. It has received the highest foreign aid dollars for many years. The land of Palestine, the occupied territories, and the land that is now called Israel is very small. Only about 80 miles at its widest, 9 miles at its narrowest across, and 263 miles in length, about the size of New Jersey. Why did it reach such a large level of aid? $3.8 billion from the United States. There's always been a strategic and political reason why the U.S. has supported Israel. Some say it secures a spot militarily in the Middle East. Others explain the arms deal with Israel. Many of you know how powerful the U.S. is in foreign policy. The U.S. is still the richest country in the world and has 800 military bases around the world. Its foreign policy has been instrumental in starting wars. Who profits from these wars? It's large corporations that manufacture war equipment. I believe there is a connection between the profit of arms sales and war. The sales of arms in the United States is lucrative. A recent article in the Chicago Policy Review found that Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Northrop, Grumman, and Raytheon profit is war-related. Sales, they say these firms make up most of the country's arms sales, and profits promote warfare by capitalizing on conflict. The U.S. accounts for more than 40% of the planet weapon exports, yet the U.S. is only 4.2% of the world population. These firms have lobbyists who, over the last 20 years, have spent over $2.5 billion on these efforts. They have a scheme that requires war for them to be profitable. It seems impossible for there to be peace in Palestine, but we have to reflect on the changes that have occurred for many of us in our own lifetime, such as the falling of the Berlin Wall, the dismantlement of the apartheid government in South Africa, and the Jim Crow laws being struck down. It is a constant battle to fight for justice, but we should never give up. Our role in UU is to take a stand and support an apartheid-free government in Israel to allow the Palestinians to live in peace. The two-state solution is in dispute now by many scholars, primarily because of the land grab by the Israelis and the illegal settlements that were built in the occupied territories. The Palestinians have to agree on the new government and not have it imposed. I had the opportunity to visit Palestine in July 2023 before the genocide. I saw firsthand the apartheid state with different rights for Palestinians. And I have brought a book today. It's called Visualizing Palestine. It has a website. It has a lot of beautiful posters, and I have put a couple of them on my poster board. We have to acknowledge that Israel is an apartheid system. Most world organizations have declared that Israel is an apartheid state. Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and all 5 previous UN special rapporteurs. The people are beautiful, with hope that the international community will support their efforts for freedom. We must put pressure on our elected officials, educate our congregation, and take bold stands at the congregation level. Learn how to become an apartheid-free church. Participate in boycott, divestment, and sanction movement, and join UUJME. And last, educate yourself with facts and listen to alternative media like Democracy Now! And Al Jazeera. Groups within UUA have taken the apartheid-free pledge. Black Lives Unitarian Universalists, with the acronym BLUE, and Diverse and Revolutionary Unitarian Multicultural Ministries, with the acronym DRUM. Over 1,000 faith groups and other progressive organizations have signed the pledge, and this is available for review on the website apartheidfree.org. I have pledge cards here, and as individuals, we cannot sign the pledge, but an organization can pledge. Any progressive organization can pledge on the website apartheidfree.org, and I'll be available to answer any questions that you may have. I know it's kind of a long speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. I hope you'll be able to stay for a few minutes for coffee and conversation after the service, and then maybe some of you can ask your questions then. I now invite you to stand for our closing hymn. There is a misprint in the order of service. We will be singing 1017, "We Are Building a New Way." Our chalice extinguishing words are from Reverend Michelle Collins. "The flame is gone, but its heat lingers. Carry that warmth into the uncertain hours ahead, soft, persistent, alive, beneath whatever the world may bring." Our service has now ended. We invite you to stay. I believe we'll have coffee and conversation, as well as soup and bread for those wishing to stay later for the concert at 2 o'clock. Am I right, Lori? That's our plan?
For the next 2 hours.
Okay.